We are talking with Nick Kalikas, MMA Oddsmaker and DSI consultant, previewing UFC 143 here on SBRtv, and our guest is LayzieTheSavage. That's spelled L-A-Y-Z-I-E, LayzieTheSavage from MiddleEasy.com. Talking about UFC 143, and LayzieTheSavage is a known friend of Nick Diaz, and now we're going to talk about Roy Nelson and Fabricio Werdum, and you're friends with Werdum, right, Layzie?
Yeah, actually, I did some behind-the-scenes video blogging for Werdum for his fight camp leading up to Fedor, and became really close to that camp. And yeah, I got an insight of how talented Fabricio really is, and really got to know him as a person. And he's a great guy. I like Roy Nelson though too. I think Roy Nelson is very talented, and I've always been a fan. So it's a tough fight.
This is a very, very competitive line. It's close to pick 'em. And Nelson, of course, got a big win over Krokop recently, which sort of put him back on the map. I did read this quote from a message board, and it's interesting. I want to get your reaction on it. The best Roy can beat the shit out of the best Werdum, in my opinion. What do you think about that, LayzieTheSavage?
I don't know. You know, I've seen Werdum's training camp, and he's been training with some big guys. And you know, Alistair Overeem did not impress me against Werdum, and I think that's because he felt Werdum was a threat to him. And I think Alistair Overeem is a much tougher competition, or a level of competition than Roy Nelson at this point. That being said, Roy Nelson can knock people out.
Yeah.
And you know, Werdum's got to make sure he doesn't get caught. I think Werdum's BJJ is supreme if it hits the floor, but I don't see anybody getting tapped out in this fight. I think it's going to be a stand-up war, and I think it's going to go to a decision, and I think Werdum will edge him out, and maybe a split decision.
All right. Nick, where'd this line open? It's very competitive now. Have you been getting heavy equal action on both sides?
It's funny. I opened it exactly pick minus 115 either way, and initial action went on Nelson, right? And it flipped to 125 Nelson, and then it flipped back to 125 the other way on Werdum. So yeah, we're getting, I mean, pounded both ways here, so people aren't sure who's going to win.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have to give, I think, a little bit of advantages to Werdum in this fight as well. On the ground, Nelson is very keen. He's amazing he submits a lot of guys too. His BJJ is legit, but it's not as good as Fabricio Werdum. Right. So, but this is MMA, so I think, like Layzie said, that'll probably cancel each other out. On the feet, I'd have to favor Nelson, although he's going to be a little bit of disadvantage as far as reach goes, because he brings a lot more. This is my concern about Fabricio. If it's not going too well and he can't control the fight on the floor or get that sub, a lot of times on the feet he has a tendency to not be himself, or back down, or fade away, or butt scoot, and do that kind of stuff. If he does that, then Nelson's kind of probably pull away and cruise to a decision or knock him out. So, but if not, I think if Fabricio can control the fight, get some of the takedowns that I think he might against Nelson here as well, he could win a very close decision.
Yeah, so
maybe, it's gonna be close.
Maybe the best way to bet this fight is to do live betting and see how it unfolds after a round or two, and then you get a better picture of whether.
Not a bad idea, because like I said, it seems like right now everybody's split. Nobody's really sure how this is going to unfold.
And I know Rafael Cordero has been working extensively with Werdum in his stand-up, and I know Verdum's been working on his boxing. And, you know, he had some time off in between that Overeem and Fedor fight. He had surgery. You know, there could have been a million things that went wrong in that camp. I wasn't there for it, but Werdum did not look himself during that Overeem fight. And I think the best best Fabricio Werdum is yet to come.
Right. Wow. Layzie with some inside info, inside knowledge, inside perspective, MiddleEasy.com. We'll see how this turns out.